Europe is undergoing a transformation that few outside policy circles fully appreciate. For decades after the Cold War, much of the continent relied heavily on alliances, particularly with the United States, for its security umbrella. Military spending was reduced, armed forces were downsized, and the idea of large-scale conflict on European soil seemed increasingly distant. But over the past several years, a shift has begun to take shape. Quietly, steadily, and with growing urgency, Europe is laying the foundations of what could eventually resemble a unified and formidable military power. This transformation is not happening through dramatic announcements or a single centralized army. Instead, it is unfolding through a complex web of cooperation agreements, joint investments, shared technologies, and evolving political will. The process is subtle, often technical, and sometimes fragmented, which is precisely why it has gone largely unnoticed by the general public. Yet taken together, these developments suggest a clear trajectory. Europe is preparing to stand more independently in matters of defense. One of the main drivers behind this shift is the changing global security environment. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022 served as wake-up calls for European governments. These events demonstrated that conventional warfare is still a real and immediate threat. Suddenly, the long-held assumption that peace in Europe was guaranteed no longer felt secure. Countries began to reassess their vulnerabilities, and defense quickly moved to the top of political agendas. Military spending across Europe has risen significantly as a result. Nations that once struggled to meet NATO's recommended defense spending target of 2% of GDP are now not only meeting it but exceeding it. Germany, for example, announced a historic increase in defense spending, signaling a major shift in its post-World War II military posture. Other countries followed suit, modernizing their forces and investing in advanced capabilities such as cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, and missile defense systems. But this buildup is not just about individual nations strengthening their own militaries. A key aspect of Europe's emerging power lies in collaboration. The European Union has been playing an increasingly active role in coordinating defense efforts among its member states. Initiatives such as Permanent Structured Cooperation (PESCO) allow countries to work together on joint military projects, ranging from the development of new weapons systems to the creation of rapid response units. These programs aim to reduce duplication, improve efficiency, and ensure that European forces can operate seamlessly together. Another major initiative is the European Defence Fund, which provides financial support for collaborative research and development in defense technologies. By pooling resources, European countries can achieve economies of scale and accelerate innovation. This is particularly important in areas like drone technology, cybersecurity, and space-based surveillance, where staying competitive requires substantial investment. Interoperability is a central goal of these efforts. Historically, European militaries have used a wide variety of equipment, often incompatible with one another. This has made joint operations more difficult and less effective. By standardizing systems and increasing coordination, Europe is working to ensure that its forces can function as a cohesive unit. This doesn't mean replacing national armies with a single European army, at least not in the near term, but it does mean creating a level of integration that makes collective action far more efficient. Logistics and mobility are also receiving increased attention. The ability to move troops and equipment quickly across borders is crucial in any military scenario. Europe is investing in infrastructure improvements, such as upgrading railways, roads, and ports, to facilitate rapid deployment. Bureaucratic barriers that once slowed down cross-border military movements are being reduced, allowing forces to respond more swiftly to emerging threats. At the same time, Europe is strengthening its industrial base. Defense manufacturing is being revitalized, with a focus on producing critical equipment within the continent. This reduces dependence on external suppliers and enhances strategic autonomy. Joint ventures between European defense companies are becoming more common, leading to the development of next-generation fighter jets, tanks, and naval vessels. These projects not only improve military capabilities but also support economic growth and technological advancement. Political dynamics are also evolving in ways that support this transformation. There is a growing recognition among European leaders that relying too heavily on external allies carries risks. While the transatlantic alliance remains important, there is increasing emphasis on ensuring that Europe can act independently if necessary. This concept, often referred to as strategic autonomy, has become a guiding principle in European defense policy. Public opinion is gradually shifting as well. In the past, there was often resistance to increased military spending or deeper defense integration, particularly in countries with strong pacifist traditions. However, recent geopolitical developments have changed perceptions. Citizens are more aware of security threats and more willing to support measures that enhance defense capabilities. This shift in mindset provides governments with greater political space to pursue ambitious initiatives. Despite these advances, the path toward a European military superpower is not without challenges. One of the biggest obstacles is political fragmentation. The European Union consists of many countries with different histories, priorities, and strategic cultures. Achieving consensus on defense matters can be difficult, and disagreements can slow progress. Some nations remain cautious about ceding too much control over their armed forces, fearing a loss of sovereignty. There are also practical challenges related to coordination and implementation. Integrating diverse military systems, aligning procurement processes, and managing joint projects require significant effort and cooperation. Bureaucratic complexity can hinder efficiency, and delays are not uncommon. Additionally, balancing national interests with collective goals is an ongoing challenge that requires careful negotiation. Another important factor is the relationship with NATO. Europe's defense initiatives are not intended to replace NATO but to complement it. However, ensuring that these efforts are aligned rather than duplicative is crucial. Maintaining strong transatlantic ties while pursuing greater independence is a delicate balancing act that requires strategic clarity and mutual trust. Technology is playing a crucial role in shaping Europe's military future. Investments in artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, and cyber capabilities are transforming the nature of warfare. European countries are working to stay at the forefront of these developments, recognizing that technological superiority can provide a decisive advantage. Collaborative research programs and partnerships with private industry are helping to drive innovation in this. Cybersecurity, in particular, has become a top priority. Modern conflicts are not limited to physical battlefields, they also take place in the digital realm. Protecting critical infrastructure, countering cyberattacks, and ensuring the integrity of information systems are essential components of national security. Europe is developing robust cyber defense capabilities and enhancing cooperation among member states to address these challenges. Space is another emerging domain of strategic importance. Satellites play a vital role in communication, navigation, and surveillance. European countries are investing in space-based assets and working to ensure that they have independent access to these capabilities. This not only strengthens military operations but also supports a wide range of civilian applications. Training and readiness are also being prioritized. Joint exercises involving multiple European countries are becoming more frequent and sophisticated. These exercises help build trust, improve coordination, and test the effectiveness of integrated forces. They also send a clear signal of unity and preparedness to potential adversaries. While the idea of a fully unified European army remains a topic of debate, the reality is that Europe does not necessarily need a single army to function as a military superpower. What matters is the ability to act collectively, efficiently, and decisively when required. Through increased cooperation, shared resources, and aligned strategies, Europe is moving closer to achieving this capability. The transformation is gradual, and it may take years or even decades to fully materialize. However, the direction is clear. Europe is no longer content to rely solely on others for its security. It is building the structures, capabilities, and political will needed to take greater responsibility for its own defense. This quiet evolution may not dominate headlines, but its implications are significant. A stronger, more integrated European military presence has the potential to reshape global power dynamics. It could enhance stability in the region, deter aggression, and provide a more balanced distribution of security responsibilities among allies. In many ways, Europe's approach reflects its broader philosophy: progress through cooperation rather than confrontation, integration rather than centralization, and steady advancement rather than sudden change. This method may lack the drama of more overt displays of power, but it is no less impactful. As these efforts continue to unfold, the world is likely to take greater notice. What is being built is not just a collection of national armies but a networked system of defense that combines the strengths of multiple DISM into a cohesive whole. If successful, it could become one of the most capable and influential military forces in the world. For now, the process remains largely under the radar, driven by policy decisions, budget allocations, and technical collaborations rather than bold gossanim. But beneath this quiet surface, a significant transformation is underway. one that could define Europe's role on the global stage for generations to come.